Hey, good morning, guys. It is the 1st of June here in Mississippi, so it is getting time for blueberries to be blooming and coming in season to be picked. So I'm going to show you a very simple, easy recipe that me and my family love around here, especially with fresh blueberries. I actually picked these last June, and I just put them in the freezer. I did not wash them. I didn't really do anything except sort them out in bags and froze them. So here we are, still eating last year's that are still fantastic. So it's getting time in a few weeks to pick some more, so it'll be time for some really fresh ones. So this morning, we're just gonna do some blueberry muffins with them. So this recipe calls for mostly everything you probably have at your house. It calls for all-purpose flour, oil, milk, an egg, baking powder, cinnamon, sugar, and of course, fresh blueberries. So we're gonna start, it is 1.5 cups of all-purpose flour. You're gonna put that in there. And then it is a 1/2 teaspoon of salt. Not that much. And then 2 teaspoons of baking powder. And then you want to, that's all of the dry ingredients beside the sugar. So we want to add the sugar. 3/4. It is 3/4 cups of sugar. Okay, so that's all the dry ingredients. Then you want to take at least a 2-cup measuring cup, and you're going to do 1/3 cup of vegetable oil and an egg. And then you're going to fill it to the 1 cup mark. So 1/3 cup of oil. Then you're going to add your egg to the oil. This is a fresh brown egg from my Chickens Done Deal. And then you're gonna it's about 2/3 cup right now, then you're gonna take your milk and add up until the 1 cup mark on it. And you may want to do just a little bit more. I always like to do just a smidge over 1 cup, just to give it just a little more wetness in the batter. But that depends on you. If you like it at the 1 cup and don't want to add any more milk, that's totally fine as well. So we're gonna add it. I'm gonna stir the dry ingredients just a second. Then you can add to the wet ingredients and just mix up. You don't have to just steadily mix. Just make sure the egg's good and mixed in. You don't want to over mix them. And if you see right here that your batter is a little bit drier than what you like, you can add even more milk here. All right, then you're gonna take your blueberries that I have not washed since putting them up last year. I did not wash them before I put them up. So I'm gonna take my cup, it's a cup of blueberries. I'm gonna take them and just give them a quick rinse off. You just want to stir them up in here. And if you want to add a little more blueberries to your batter, you don't want to add too much, because then it'll be just a big old blueberry. But So you just want to mix them up in there pretty good. That's it on the actual muffin, and then we're going to make a crumble top that goes on the top of this as well. So I always just take about 1/4 of a cup and just do in my muffin tin. You don't want to overfill the cups because by the time you add the crumble on the top of them, it kind of really fills them up. So you don't want to have them exploding out on you. Usually this recipe makes exactly perfectly 12 muffins. Here at the end, I'm just kind of going back and seeing who didn't get as much love as everybody else. So we're just going to kind of fill in just a little bit here at the very end of the remaining batter. I always just kind of give them a little tap just to kind of even them out just a little bit. All right, and now for the goodness on top. It calls for 1/4 cup of butter. I use salted butter, and it is just, I have melted it down just a little bit because it's better once it gets a little more, a little wet instead of hard and chunky. That way it kind of mixes in better. It is 1/3 cup of all-purpose flour. And 1/2 cup of sugar. And then cinnamon. It is 1½ teaspoons of cinnamon. I always just do a big old heaping teaspoon of cinnamon because we love cinnamon around here. And I always mix it with just a little fork just to kind of, you just want to stir it and mix it good. It is still going to be chunky, especially if the butter's not all the way completely melted down, which is kind of what you like because it makes it easier to know how much you're actually putting on each muffin. So once this cooks down, it will not be chunky because the butter, of course, is going to melt in the oven, and it kind of makes it kind of a smooth chunky. And I always take about a tablespoon and just kind of spread around on the top of them, just like that. And I always do the same thing with the muffins because I'm always going to have some left and just kind of go back over some spots that maybe didn't get as much. Of course, when you put these in the oven, these muffins are going to rise. That's why I was saying earlier, you don't want to overfill them too awful much. The topping on the crumble on the top kind of wants to explode, so it'll be all over your pan. One thing I forgot to mention in the start of the video is I've had my oven preheated. It is preheated to 400. So now I'm going to put these fresh blueberry muffins in the oven. Usually it takes about 20 to 25 minutes. You just want to watch them because you don't want the crumble on the top to burn, because it will be a big old hunk of burnt brown sugar or burnt sugar on the top. So you just want to keep a close eye on them once they start about the 22 minute mark. So I'm going to put these in the oven and we'll be back soon. Alright, so let's check and see if these guys are ready to come out. It's been about 22 minutes. So let's check and see if they're ready. I believe they are. So the top on them is going to be just a little darker brown. So I always do just the trusty old toothpick cast just to make sure that the inside is done. On the bigger muffins, and they are. So now we're just going to put them, take them out of the pan and put them on a cooling rack for about 3 to 5 minutes, just because the blueberries will scorch your mouth if you bite into them when they're extremely hot. So that was a quick and easy recipe on how to make fresh blueberry muffins with fresh blueberries that's coming in just a few weeks. So if you guys liked the video and found it helpful, please like and share it. And thank you guys for watching.